Top Gun: Maverick hits record low second weekend drop with $86 million domestically. All those glowing reviews and that enthusiastic word of mouth is paying off for Top Gun: Maverick. The film fell by just 32% in its second weekend domestically, earning $86 million. This is the best second weekend hold for a film that opened above $100 million domestically. It also ranks among the 10 best second weekends in history, and this takes Maverick's running domestic total to $291 million. Blockbusters such as Maverick tend to be front-loaded at the box office, which makes the 32% drop all the more phenomenal. By comparison, Spider-Man, No Way Home and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness each fell by 67% in their second weekends, while The Batman fell 50%. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, the sequel arrives 36 years after the blockbuster first film, directed by the late Tony Scott. It opened in a record 4,732 North American theaters last week, and delivered a Memorial Day best weekend of $160 million. Maverick actually added 19 more venues in its second weekend, as it blew past star Tom Cruise's personal records. It is now Cruise's top-performing film domestically, beating 2005's War of the Worlds. At the international box office, Maverick has made $257 million, taking its worldwide cum to $548 million. At the number 2 spot, Disney's Doctor Strange sequel made $9.3 million in its fifth weekend, taking its running domestic total to $388.7 million. It is currently the 9th biggest Marvel Studios production, without playing in China or Russia. Internationally, Doctor Strange 2 crossed the $900 million mark, becoming director Sam Raimi's highest-grossing film. Disney's The Bob's Burgers movie remained in third place in its second weekend, but fell by 64% with a $4.5 million sophomore bow. The film's running domestic total stands at $22.2 million. Universal's The Bad Guys added $3.3 million in its seventh weekend, taking its running domestic total to $87 million. The film is now available on digital and has grossed over $200 million worldwide. The top 5 was rounded out by Downton Abbey, A New Era, which made $3 million in its third weekend, taking its running domestic total to a little over $35 million. That's a far cry from the solid performance of the first Downton Abbey film, which made nearly $100 million in its domestic run back in 2019. Elsewhere, A24's Everything Everywhere All at Once crossed the $60 million mark domestically, while David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future opened at the 10th spot with $1.1 million, and the Indian Tamil film Vikram debuted with $1.7 million at the 7th spot. Next weekend, Maverick will face off against Jurassic World Dominion, which debuted in a handful of overseas territories this week with $56 million. Stay tuned to Collider for more updates. Smile teaser trailer offers unsettling look at mysterious horror film. Bacon began her career early on in 2005's Loverboy, directed by her father, Kevin Bacon, and starring her mother, Kyra Sedgwick. However, she gained traction in Netflix's teen series 13 Reasons Why as the sage barista, Sky Miller. Bacon went on to prove her horror capabilities in MTV's Scream, the TV series, an anthology series based off of Wes Craven's Scream franchise, and more recently landed a role opposite Kate Winslet in HBO's Emmy-winning crime drama Mare of Easttown. Joining Bacon in the psychological horror is a familiar face to 2000s horror fans, Kyle Gallner. The actor has made a name for himself in the genre with appearances in 2009's Haunting in Connecticut, the cult classic Jennifer's Body with Megan Fox, 2010's A Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and most recently Scream, the fifth installment of the Ghostface franchise. Smile is slated to be released on September 30th, just in time to kick off the Halloween season. In addition to Bacon, Stacey and Gallner, other cast members for the film include Rob Morgan, Jesse T. Usher, Judy Reyes, and Cal Penn. Smile's brief teaser concludes by announcing that the full-length trailer will be arriving soon. Additional Morbius screenings lead to another bleak weekend at the box office. It's Morbin time no more. Sony's Spider-Man spin-off Morbius returned to more than 1,000 theaters across the US but failed to make a mark yet again. The Jared Leto-led superhero movie earned another $85,000 on Friday with a $73.6 million domestic cumulative. Its $270 per theater average is the lowest in the top 20, Forbes has reported. Sony tried to capitalize on the meme fest that the movie inspired on the internet. To further entice the audience, Leto himself released a meme-inspired video on Twitter. The short video sees the Oscar winner reading the script of Morbius sequel titled, "It's Morbin Time." However, one can see through the spoof as the cover page credits screenwriter Bartholomew Cubbins, who happens to be a fictional page and the hero of two children's books by Dr. Seuss. However, none of the efforts seems to pay off and further cast doubts about a possible sequel. Morbius was panned by the audience and the critics both. It has C+ from CinemaScore and a 17% on Tomatometer. The movie suffered over half a dozen delays due to the pandemic. Also, Spider-Man: No Way Home's game-changing effect further spiraled the movie into various reshoots and plot holes. Furthermore, the movie fails to establish a particular timeline after No Way Home brought 3 generations of Spider-Man and their villains together. Actor Al Madrigal, who played FBI agent Alberto Al Rodriguez, later spoke about the movie with comic books saying, "First of all, Morbius, not as bad as everybody is making it out to be. Sure, it had problems, and they diced it up quite a bit. I had some hilarious lines that were cut out of that movie. I got butchered in that thing. I think that's what they did. They just really, because of COVID, they just had so much time to mess with it. They really messed with it." Morbius cast Leto in the titular role along with Matt Smith as Loxia's Crown, Michael Keaton as Vulture, Audrey Arjona as Martine Bancroft, and Tyrese Gibson as Simon Stroud, among others. Resurrection poster shows Rebecca Hall in a psychological thriller. The streaming service Shudder and IFC Films have been giving us some of the horror genre's most creatively frightful stories in recent memory. Their upcoming collaboration Resurrection, written/directed by Andrew Siemens and starring Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth, looks to continue their hot streak. The psychological thriller just had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year, and it releases in theaters and on demand on August 5th before heading to Shudder in November. Resurrection just released its first trailer last month. Now the film just dropped a new poster that hints at the trauma that lies ahead for genre fans. The poster is pretty simple, but highly effective in setting up its unsettling mood. It's a black and white close-up of Hall, with a series of red lines covering part of her face. Particularly her eyes. The way Hall's eye is staring straight at you is quite haunting, and her head being pointed upward only adds to that uneasy feeling. The tagline of the poster, "Maintain Control," also further emphasizes the emotional struggle this film will seemingly put its audience through. Hall is no stranger to the psychological thriller subgenre, as just last year she starred in the underrated horror gem The Night House. In that film, she also played someone dealing with her very dark past, and Hall gave an emotionally relentless, Oscar-worthy performance. The previously mentioned trailer for Resurrection makes the film appear to be in the same vein as The Night House, with mind-bending, disturbing imagery that tackles repressed trauma in a very dark way. The talent around Hall is also just incredible, with Roth being one of the most underrated actors working today and Siemens' last directed film Nancy, Please being critically praised across the board. It's going to be exciting to see what Siemens brings to his second directed feature. IFC Films has had a strong year so far with terrifying releases like the body horror film Hatching, but it has been their work with Shudder that has been particularly memorable. Whether it be films like See For Me or the just-released Watcher, their collaborations have received a lot of praise from both horror fans and critics alike. Shudder has been giving so much love to smaller genre films like Resurrection, which has helped give certain filmmakers and horror stories love that they would not receive otherwise. It should warm any horror fan's heart knowing that Shudder is continuing to push the horror genre forward while maintaining a great partnership with IFC Films. Resurrection has received extremely strong reviews so far, and genre fans will finally get to see what all the fuss is about very soon. The film releases in theaters and on demand on August 5th before it scares its way to Shudder in November 2022.